Seth found the church by the scent of a trophy. The land itself had thinned around it, faith and stone rotting together until neither remembered its purpose. The chapel sagged into the earth, its steeple broken, its bell long gone. Nettles had grown through the foundation, their sharp leaves clawing up the walls like a warning. His black stallion refused to step closer. "Stay," Seth muttered, dismounting his equestrian companion. Hunger gnawed at him. He was scavenging, not seeking salvation. Still, the smell inside, old incense, dust, and something bitter like sage burnt too long, seemed to draw him in. Behind the altar, he found the staircase. Below lay a hidden bastion, carved deep into the earth with deliberate care. Candles floated without flame, illuminating walls etched in sigils arranged in perfect concord, each symbol agreeing with the next like a vow that could not be broken. The witches stood in a ritual circle. Their eyes were black, endless dark voids, watchful, unblinking, obedient. At the center of them stood Father Parrish Armstrong, hands folded, posture serene. A pale scarf was wrapped tightly over his eyes. "A vampire with guns," Armstrong said, his smile edged with more than amusement. "How uncouth." Seth's hand hovered over his holster. "Didn't know churches still preach to monsters." "We once relied on your kind," Armstrong said calmly. "When humans came with fire and scripture, vampires were our shield. But that era has ended." "Funny," Seth replied. "Yet you smell like one." He scoffed. The candles flickered. For a brief of a moment, red light bled faintly beneath the scarf. Armstrong noticed, Seth noticing. That was enough. Seth turned and left before blood finished the argument. He should have left alone. An owl followed him. It perched too close, didn't flee, watched with eyes black as pitch. When it shifted, feathers folding inward, a woman stood where the bird had been. She kept her hands visible, shoulders tense. "My name is Josephine," she said softly. "Please, don't shoot me." "You're a watcher," Seth said flatly. "Yes, but I don't want to be." Her voice shook as she held her hands up in surrender. She spoke quickly of obedience masquerading as faith, of watchers taught to witness but never question, of Father Armstrong's eyes hidden beneath cloth. "I saw them glow. They were red," she whispered. "He's half vampire. He wants to rule humans, vampires, all of it." Seth studied her. Fear, yes, but not pusillanimous fear. There was thought behind it. Dangerous thought. Wings thundered overhead before he could answer. Owls ascended in perfect concord, their presence oppressive and precise. Seth cursed under his breath, pulled Josephine by her waist, and hauled her up onto his horse. "Hold on." She held onto him, her hands on his chest, feeling the pulse of his cold, slow-beating heart. He hated himself for this. Sympathy was rot. Mercy got things killed. Still, he rode. Father Armstrong watched them vanish. Dust settled, hoofprints softened. The watchers gathered behind him, some in human form, others still owls, silent, waiting. "She has chosen disobedience," Armstrong said mildly. One witch spoke, voice small. "She always asked questions." "Questions lead to doubt," Armstrong replied. "And doubt leads to chaos." He raised a hand. "She is to be returned," he said. A pause. "Alive." Unease rippled through the flock. "And the vampire?" another asked. "Track them, circle them, exhaust the horse. Do not engage unless necessary." A witch hesitated. "If he resists?" Armstrong smirked. "Then remind him that monsters who forget their place must be corrected." The owls scattered into the sky. They hid longer than Seth intended to. The cliffside coven was carved into sheer stone, protected above jagged stones and murderous waves that mimicked the screams of the lives it feasted on. a place where witches found refuge, away from the dystopian world. Josephine usually prayed near the edge, often sitting recumbent against the stone, watching the sea as if it might answer her questions. She smiled more often. That should have warned him. Morning came, thin and gray, making it safe for him to step out. He had awoken instantly, not to wind, not to waves, but to blood, shedded blood. To the slow, deliberate sound of chewing. He jolted up onto his feet, gun in hand. Father Armstrong stood at the cliff's edge, robes pristine. In his hands was a white barn owl, feathers stained crimson, body slack. Josephine. You said you wanted her alive, Seth said, voice low. So I could feed on her myself, Armstrong replied in a matter-of-fact tone, his grin revealing his fangs. Behind Seth, the coven broke into disarray, fear finally overwhelming caution. She was beginning to think, Armstrong continued. That is an exigency I cannot allow. The scarf shifted, red like posts beneath it. Incarcerate them. Armstrong ordered the watchers. You, Seth, he will kneel. Owls screamed overhead. Below them, the water roared. Seth raised both guns. For the first time in centuries, he hesitated, not knowing whether he should shoot or flee.